Welcome to The Art of Medicine, the program that explores the arts, business, and clinical aspects of the practice of medicine. I'm your host, Dr. Andrew Wilner. Today, I'd like to welcome Manuj Aggarwal. Manuj is the host of the successful podcast, Bootstrapping Your Dreams. He's here today to talk about technology, entrepreneurship, and how to be successful in a future with so many unknowns. But before we get started, I'd like to thank our sponsor, locumstory.com. Maybe you're curious about locums and how it might fit into your career story. But do you know all the different reasons physicians choose locums and how it works for them? At locumstory.com, you can hear firsthand stories as diverse as physicians themselves. There's not one solution for everyone. The variety of opportunities might surprise you. Locum Story is an unbiased educational resource. It has tools that let you explore trends in your specialty and compare different locums agencies. There's even a simple quiz to see if locums is right for you. Do your own research at locumstory.com. It's easy. All right, and now to my guest, Manuj Aggarwal. Welcome.
Thank you so much. So excited to be here.
Well, I'm thrilled to have you on. We haven't on this program, which comes out every 2 weeks. We haven't really talked yet about the interface between technology and healthcare and physicians, and of course AI. Not 10 minutes goes by when I'm scrolling that I don't see something new in the news about AI. And frankly, I'm still of the generation that's kind of skeptical about AI. I don't know if you remember the acronym GIGO. Remember that?
Yeah.
Garbage in, garbage out. And that for computers, that was great, but the quality of the information going in was often the problem. Getting the information out, not the hard part. The hard part's getting the information in. And all these recording devices, we're going to monitor your heart, all day, or your brain waves. Problem is, get a lot of garbage going in, and that translates into garbage going out. Now, maybe they'll fix those problems. I don't know. So tell us a little bit about your background and why you're qualified to talk about AI.
Sure. Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. So my background is technology. I've been in technology space for about 30 years. Worked with hundreds of startups, helping them build their technology. A couple of them went public recently. Worked with Fortune 500 companies like Microsoft and Pearson Education and a whole bunch of others. Worked in healthcare for a long time. I was part of the team which built digital solutions for the province of British Columbia, which is about 5 million residents here in Canada, and that system was then adopted later in Canada and other countries. So I've had a lot of expertise in building technology for healthcare. And in terms of artificial intelligence, I'm one of the leading experts in AI in the world. I have 4 patents in artificial intelligence and delivered some really impactful work, specifically one project in education where we used AI to help students complete their degree programs because 30% of the students actually drop out in the first 2 years. So that project actually got special mentions from President Obama and Bill Gates. So I've had some really cool, I've been fortunate enough to work on some cool projects. And so I guess I have a few things I can share with the audience.
So where were you when they developed the EMR that I'm using?
Believe it or not, like I've been part of some EMR projects as well. It may not be the one that specifically you're using, but yeah, I mean, it has been, it has been an interesting journey learning the healthcare system and how it operates from inside.
Well, I'm not sure you want to take credit for helping to develop the EMR because, you know.
Yeah. No, I can feel your pain.
But that's my question. With all this technology, why isn't it better?
Okay,
Why
so
isn't it better to the user?
let's get down to it, right? So The thing is, I come from an engineering background, and as engineers, we are taught a certain way. We are taught to communicate certain way. We are taught to look at the world in a certain way, right? So for engineers, it's all black and white. It's all need to be done straight lines and measured and all that. Now human beings don't behave like engineers do. I mean, engineers are human beings, but they have their own way of dealing with things. The problem is that when engineers build the system, they build it for themselves. They look at the world from their point of view, and they don't understand that as a physician you have a million other things on your mind, and you may not be, you may not be inclined to enter the right data at the right field at the right time, because you have other important things to take care of. So you can see how when you apply user centric design, for example, the iPhone, why did it become the most popular device? Because the emphasis was on the user experience. Like, you just tap one button, and then the whole world of app opens up to you, and even a child can sort of navigate through it and all that. And that is the reason became because that technology became so successful. The idea that most engineers, and I learned it way late in my career, is to build a technology that is so easy that it is almost transparent. The role of the engineer is to sort of remove the complexity from the user's life. And it's a process, it's an iteration. So of course, when these large systems come out, they focus on just getting the job done. But then slowly, as you provide the feedback, if they are listening to their users, they start to improve, and they start to make those improvements, and bring about those changes that makes life easier for you.
Yeah, I want to thank you for making that point about it. It really is a clash of cultures between the way engineers see problems and the way, physicians who are usually face to face with people see problems.
Yeah.
And I have an engineering joke for you. You've probably heard this, but many of us struggle with, is the glass half empty or
Yeah, yeah.
glass half full, right? But if you ask an engineer if it's half empty or half full, the engineer will say, well, why didn't they just build the glass the right size to begin with?
Yeah, 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 exactly, exactly.
So I think a lot of the human nuances, for example, the obvious one, having a screen between you and the patient,
Yeah,
that doesn't work very well
yeah,
for human communication. So I think the other key thing you said was if they are listening. And I think many of us on this side of the screen uh, have the impression that those who are building these softwares really aren't listening too hard to what we have to say, because it should not be a struggle and take, there was this paper that showed that for every hour a physician spends with a patient, spend 2 hours documenting it. Well,
yeah,
that's criminal, right? Those people should go
yeah.
to jail, in my opinion, to create a situation like that. All right. Now with AI, right? You've got some patents in AI. AI is here. We have, computers that are more powerful and chips that are faster and can do 17 things at once, right? Is this going to get any better, or is it just going to get worse?
I believe it will get better, right? So let's build upon the previous argument. So we as humans, we have sort of devised a society where everybody is specialized, and that was because of industrialization. We had to had special skills in people, and that created siloed environment where engineers cannot empathize with physicians, and so on and so forth. Every field has their own problems. But with artificial intelligence, you can think of it as a collective consciousness of entire humanity, and it becomes like one person who can answer all your questions. So now a creative person can actually start to use AI and say, okay, I'm going to take some best ideas from the medicine field. I'm going to take another some other great ideas from the engineering field, and then I'm going to take some other ideas from the art field, and I'm going to mix it together, and I can conceive of a beautiful looking EMR that will really align with the physicians' day-to-day activities, or their preferences, or what have you. before the advent of AI, I would have had to find top engineer, top physician, top artist in
Mhm.
their field with years and years of experience, and their willingness to come to the table, work with each other, and that's no easy feat. So that is the impact of AI. I can see where really creative people can now have access to this, you know, um, immensely intelligent machine that can help them unleash their creativity easily. Make sense?
Yes, and I'm wondering, Manuj, in about 30 minutes, when we wrap this up, I wonder if you and I could start working on a new AMR. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm all for it. See, the thing is that it's an exciting time for me for sure, because there's a lot of misinformation. Just like maybe in 10-15 minutes, I hope I was able to clear some misconceptions. But the idea is, once you start to look at the scope and the possibilities, everybody starts to get excited. And just like I hope you are excited too. Yeah, I mean, if you need any help building EMR, let's do it.
All right. Now, the other question I think that's sort of in the back of everybody's mind, as computers get more sophisticated, right? There's AI. And once we start using it in a daily basis, and as you say, you can have the entire knowledge of the planet, in one box that you plug in, or to the cloud, I guess is probably where it goes. Am I going to lose my job? Am I going to be replaced?
See, as you said earlier, the primary role, in my opinion, when I visit a physician, is when the physician talks to me human to human. Like, they say, hey, what is happening? Tell me a little bit about your history, your background. They are trying to understand me at a human level. A machine is never going to be able to do that. The machine will be able to diagnose based on facts, but it's never going to be able to empathize me. It's never going to be able to comfort me. It's never going to be able to know me as a human being. So, when I go visit my family physician, he knows the entire journey of my life, where I come from, what happened, and with my kids and all that stuff. So we can feed that information into the machine, but I'm not gonna, as a patient, I'm not gonna feel that attachment. Yes, it will help you to diagnose problems faster, get second opinions, maybe even come up with new drugs faster. Maybe medicine will turn into hyper personalized medicine, where we create each drug based on your genome or your DNA or something along those lines. But I find it absurd to think that any technology is actually going to replace humans. It's always technology is going to augment us, our ability. The only difference being, so far all the inventions we made, they were made to enhance our physical abilities. Like the car is going to help us go faster, the crane is going to help us lift heavier weights. But with AI, the first time in human history, it enhances our cognitive abilities, but the empathetic abilities and those type of things, that are not replaceable.
Oh, well, that's reassuring. I
Mhm.
feel better.
Yeah, yeah,
So, and I can see how, we do collect a lot of data, blood test, genotype, patient has an illness, what kind of illness, they have cancer, what kind of cancer, what are the mutations, what are the options for treatment. That
yeah,
requires a lot of manpower to sort of identify these things and then to sort of search the recent literature. What are people doing around the world for this particular thing? And AI certainly, if the right information is fed in there, very quickly it could spit it out. Okay, you've got XYZ mutation, ABC options. These were the various results of the trials. So in a split second, you could have the up to date treatment options, which, you then could explain to the patient. And depending on their particular, needs and wants and age and, responsibilities and religion and all the things that the AI probably isn't going to deal with all that well, make a therapeutic alliance and make some progress. So I feel a little better.
exactly.
It sounds like I might have a good tool. Now, one place that I've seen AI that actually makes sense to me is in assisting in interpreting images. like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
past
yeah.
slides or x-rays or dermatology biopsies. I've seen some headlines about that. What do you think about that? Does that actually make sense? Is that are they going to be
Absolutely, absolutely. We actually worked on a project where we created a 3D printed orthotic, which was custom fitted to a person's foot, and we were working with trained physicians and experts in people who experts in biomechanics, people who understand the movement of bones and things like that. And we trained our AI system, gathering data from these experts. And mind you, these experts, they had minimum 10 to 20 years of experience in their field. Within um, I think 6 weeks, the AI was performing better or equivalent to these trained professionals, right? So, and I was blown away with the accuracy of the system. I helped build the system, but I was the lead technologist. But I was blown away. Like, how can the machine be better than a trained person with decades of experience? The idea again is like, a human mind is capable of learning a lot, but we are still limited. If we just focus on our own mind, we are still limited to our capacity of interpreting the world around us, our capacity to remember things. But when you combine the uh, thinking power, cognitive power of millions of physicians around the globe, and that is accessible to you in an instant, yeah, I mean, it's magical. So definitely, a diagnosis of images, of radiograms, any kind of measurements that uh, these devices are going to collect, in my opinion, they will actually start to get diagnosed first and foremost by AI. And then the physician will say, oh, yeah, this sounds okay or not. And so it will, I mean, you can imagine like these kind of repetitive tasks, um, they will be automated, but then the humans will be able to get more free time to, look at it in a more meaningful way and provide their opinion. That's where I think the future is going.
so we'll still need to maybe overread. That's what we call it. Like the computer now actually will spit out an interpretation of a cardiogram.
Yeah, yeah,
Do the EKG, and the computer will interpret it.
yeah,
It'll say normal sinus rhythm or left bundle branch block or something, and it's usually right. It's not
mm,
always right.
yeah,
And the cardiologist will look at the EKG, later. But you
yeah.
do have an instantaneous interpretation that, as I say, is usually right. One application that comes to mind is learning.
Mm,
In a classroom, you have 30 kids, and they're all going to learn slightly differently. Some are brighter than others, some are more focused than others, some learn, better visually, some learn better,
mm,
listening. So wouldn't it be cool if AI could adjust, sort of continue to present more advanced problems personally?
yeah.
Can it do that?
No, in fact, it's funny you mention it because I have a patent on exactly that kind of system where we built a system which is personalized learning, where if a student, let's say in a class of 30, they are teaching math. If a student knows a particular area of math, they will be able to advance faster. And if a person needs more help, he or she will be given more. Material to read in the format, as you mentioned, video format, images, whatever. So this system already exists, and I actually built it, what, maybe like almost 8 9 years ago. So yeah, I mean, we have come a long way since then.
So where do I get it?
I can put you in touch with the company. It's called Desire to Learn, and there's another company called Newton. And I think these were the two companies back then. They were major competitors, but now I think there must be more out there. Like Khan Academy, for example. I just saw
Yes.
they
Yes, I'm
released
familiar
yeah,
with
yeah,
that.
yeah. Education as we know it is going to change. I don't think there's going to be any industry that is going to look the same in 5 to 10 years. It's going to be very different. But just like with the mobile phone revolution, it sort of, we started adopting it, and before we knew it, it became part of our life. So it's the same thing with AI. Like, we are just at the cusp of the beginning of this adoption, and in 5 10 years it's going to change quite a few things. But then it's not going to be like, we will get used to it slowly. We will figure things out as we always do.
Tell me a little bit about your podcast, Bootstrapping Your Dreams. What's that all about?
Yeah. Yeah, people who know my story. My story is I used to work in a factory in India for $2 a day, and now I'm a globally recognized expert working with Fortune 500 companies. So that journey was an eventful journey, lots of ups and downs. Um, but what I feel like, when I talk to people about their dreams, they always come up with some excuse. I don't have the money, I don't have the time, I don't have this or that, whatever it is, they make excuses. So of course, I'm not here to lecture anybody, but on my podcast I showcase other stories who have gone from, like, little to no resources to where they are today, and how was that journey, how did they get through that ups and downs. Because anything that is worth accomplishing something, I mean, becoming a physician, I'm sure you had your challenges. It's never easy. So showcasing those stories to say, hey, if you really want to go for something, you have to make the sacrifice, and these are the ways that people have done it. So use these stories as inspiration. And there's a lot of, like, tips and tricks and things that people share, how they deal with these situations. And so that's the theme of the podcast, bootstrapping your dreams. How do you like achieve your dreams with little to no resources.
Well, that sounds, yeah, I think what you said, it's never easy. When you see a successful person like yourself, you got a great office and a nice suit. It's like, oh, he's got it easy. Uh, you don't see the backstory. You don't see that this started at $2 a day. And I think that it's really important to recognize that a lot of people who are successful, that their journey there was rocky, and mine certainly wasn't straightforward.
Yeah,
It's not exactly a rags to riches story. I didn't start out really literally in rags, and riches still seem
yeah,
elusive.
yeah,
But
yeah.
there were many sort of deviations from what I thought would have been my path, and that did require some persistence. So I think your podcast. Now, what is? I've heard the term bootstrapping. What does that mean?
So bootstrapping comes from, generally in technology startups. There are two ways to grow a tech startup. I mean, this is for every business, but generally these terms are used in technology startups, where they say, "Do you want to raise money?" Talking to a venture capitalist. So let's say you come up with an idea for EMR. We need capital. You go to a venture capitalist. They say, "Okay, I'm going to take 20% of your company, and here is $1 million. Go build it." That's one way. Or bootstrapping is, you just sell some of your belongings. You take out the savings, and you put up some money and hire a couple of junior interns, and then you bring your idea to life and hope that it'll work. So that's bootstrapping. So it's like, whether you want to, which way you want to go. And so the idea is, if you are able to bootstrap, if you have the courage to stick to your beliefs, then bootstrapping is the right way to go. Because when you take money from somebody else, money is a weird thing. Like, it has a lot of power, invisible power that comes with taking somebody's money. So yeah, I mean, that's what it's about.
Well, that definitely sounds like it's worth a listen. Yeah, and I agree. You always hear about self-made men who started their own company, and then it gets really big, and then they sell it, and then they leave because they
Yeah,
don't like working there anymore when somebody else owns it.
yeah.
It's different. Well, we're getting close to time, Manuj. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I will just say, AI is here to stay. My advice to people is not to fall for misinformation or fear. Try to take baby steps and embrace it a little bit, and you will start to see how transformative it is. And I urge people to do that, because it's just like the internet. Like, a lot of people said, "I don't need a website, I don't need a email address," and look where we are now. So the sooner you can adopt it, the better you advantage you will be able to take of this technology.
Oh, I agree. And we don't have enough time to talk about potential evils of AI. Maybe next time.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
I want to thank my guest, Manuj Aggarwal, for appearing on The Art of Medicine.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Before we close, I'd like to give another thanks to our sponsor, locumstory.com, a resource where providers can get real, unbiased answers about locum tenens. I'm Dr. Andrew Wilner. See you next time. This program is hosted, edited, and produced by Andrew Wilner, MD, FACP, FAAN. Guests receive no financial compensation for their appearance on The Art of Medicine. Andrew Wilner, MD, is Associate Professor of Neurology at the University of Tennessee Health Science Center, Memphis, Tennessee. Views, thoughts, and opinions expressed on this program belong solely to Dr. Wilner and his guests and not necessarily to their employers, organizations, or other group or individual. While this program intends to be informative, it is meant for entertainment purposes only. The Art of Medicine does not offer professional financial, legal, or medical advice. Dr. Wilner and his guests assume no responsibility or liability for any damages, financial or otherwise, that arise in connection with consuming this program's content. Thanks for watching. For more episodes of The Art of Medicine, please subscribe. www.andrewwilner.com